good. Okay. Oh, look at this. Whoa.
And as we drop into your living rooms, ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome you once again to the fun show here at Big TV. Big TV.
Woo!
A little.
I thought you were going to do a tribute to Pete Seeger, and instead we get a tribute to Woody Guthrie, and now we get Pete Seeger and Black History Month wrapped into one artfully encompassing one song. The master of the keyboard is our host and producer and major factotum, Mike Sallen. I've got Kiera Miner sitting here between us once again.
And we're lucky to have her.
Brave young woman. She keeps coming back and filling the age gap for us.
I do what
I can.
I'm Arch O'Riley.
She brings in her own Band-Aids. It's a long, tough evening.
Right. She also does research, something that we are totally unaccustomed to.
We're not accustomed to
No,
that.
unaccustomed to that.
Unaccustomed.
But I do want to
donuts.
report that we had the Democratic caucuses at the high school. We had a very large turnout. We had, at one point, I believe 72 people nominated for delegate in the course of the thing. So it took us from 2 in the afternoon to past 6 o'clock at night. And the big winner in Brookline was Steve Grossman for governor. And the big loser in Brookline was Martha Coakley, who the press insists is the front runner and who got not one single delegate in Brookline.
Ouch.
I mean, George W. Bush got more support in Brookline than Martha Coakley.
That's very telling.
Well,
so it was a good day. You can tell. I'm nonpartisan.
you think
Anyone but Coakley for governor.
you think Governor Patrick liked the results?
I don't think Governor Patrick cared. I think Governor Patrick has already checked out. He gave his last State of the State speech, and his body's there, but his mind is not.
Yeah, he's done.
Governor Patrick, who I have come to refer to as Mini-Me.
Okay.
Mini-Me. He's Barack Obama's Mini-Me.
Well,
although the fact
speaker.
of the matter is Barack Obama may actually be Deval Patrick's Mini-Me.
How do you figure?
Well, I mean, all his speeches, all his strategies, all his phrases, they were all borrowed from Deval. You got to remember, Deval ran first for governor, and then all of a sudden came Obama, and he sounded just like Deval. They're very similar. They're very good
I
friends.
didn't say that. He said that.
Okay.
It's not controversial. It's Michael, where's your microphone?
You mean I had a microphone?
Yes,
Oh.
we'd like you to have a
No,
microphone.
it's your glasses. No, there's his
Oh, there
mic.
he is.
He's
There's
fine.
Good, Mike.
He's
All
good.
right.
Thank you.
Your mic was hiding, Mike.
Okay. The Red Sox left for camp finally.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I missed that. I was too busy.
Yeah, they had. Are you a fan?
You
No,
mean they
I
loaded
am
the
not a
truck
sports
and
fan.
drove down?
Where's camp?
Camp?
Somewhere in Florida.
I thought it was Florida.
I mean,
somewhere.
most of my life it was Winter Haven, but I'm not sure.
No, it
where
isn't.
they went.
It's not at Winter Haven now.
Someplace else.
Yeah, it's not.
It's very funny. Baseball, they all gather either in Florida or in Arizona for spring training.
Okay.
And
I think I'd prefer Arizona. Too much humidity down south.
oh,
Give me some dry heat. I would take the dry
so
heat.
you buy that dry heat stuff.
I lived the dry heat stuff, so
Oh, it's all right.
Well, I'll tell you, in Nicaragua, there's nothing dry about the heat because you're always soaking wet.
well, isn't that humidity?
Huh?
Isn't that?
I don't know if there's a lot of humidity. All I know is that you're always wet. It takes you about 10 minutes after you get up in the morning to break a sweat.
What do you have for breakfast?
Beans and rice.
And, I thought you'd have one of those little things that was crawling around on the floor or something.
Oh, no.
A lizard? No.
Iguana is a
pick it
very
up off the
special
guy.
treat.
The lizard was a special treat.
Yeah.
Really?
He was down there
Iguana.
in Nicaragua there.
But they'll
How
tell you
long?
that
When were
iguana
you?
is not a lizard. I've been there 8 times now.
Okay. Why?
Yeah.
What makes you go
Well,
down
we
there?
have a sister city
Okay.
called Quesalhuaque in
Quesalhuaque.
Nicaragua. We have built the country's second best library. We've built health center that's open 24/7. We just added an emergency suite and a birthing center.
Wow.
We
Water
built schools,
system.
housing, et cetera, et cetera.
When you say sister city of what?
Brookline. Brookline,
Okay.
Kesselwaukee.
Okay.
Now, you have a connection with the town of Newton,
Yes.
Yeah.
and they have a sister city in the south of Nicaragua called San Juan del Sur. Now, the difference is that San Juan del Sur is the Beverly Hills of Nicaragua, which only seems fitting.
Yeah, it seems.
But
I-
we would-
Beverly
I'm good
Hills
with-
of
yeah.
Nicaragua.
or
What a
maybe
place.
the Malibu of
Okay,
Nicaragua.
close enough.
What a
eh?
place.
You
So-
created the image.
When Newton's looking for a sister city, they pick the richest town in the country. Of course, that's all
Okay.
relative because the only country in the Western Hemisphere that's poorer than Nicaragua is Haiti.
You think?
Okay.
You
So
think,
things are
It's
relative.
all
Do you
relative.
think Mr. Grossman would come on our show?
I'm sure he would, as a matter of fact.
Well, what if we had Martha also at the same time?
She can have my seat.
Does that mean you're leaving?
Well, I won't be there if Martha's there. That's one thing.
He's got a nice.
She can sit between Mike and I.
Yeah.
Keep her. I'll be your buffer.
Yeah, she. What's the difference if she comes with him there? It wouldn't matter. We'd be. It would be a first in Brookline, wouldn't it?
Oh, you mean you want a 5-person panel?
Yeah. Why not?
Have we done that before?
I don't know.
No,
We'll have to ask the
never
crew if
did.
we have 5 microphones.
We could have Barney Frank.
Well, Barney, we give Barney another chance to show up.
Yeah,
Right.
he'd make it. He'd
Barney-
come.
Didn't you call him and say, "Come on down"?
Barney came to be on our show one time, and he ended up in the control room because he got here late.
He got. It was out there.
Oh.
Right.
7:20.
Drop the ball.
Got as close as
7:20.
the door.
I wanted to go and pick him up, and he said no. So okay.
You know, it's funny how low key Barney's been since he
Well, he's
left.
probably writing.
Nobody hears much about
Yes, I
Barney.
bet he-
Memoirs.
I'd say he's writing.
He's rating with
Maybe-
asbestos gloves.
Maybe there's a family spat.
Yeah,
You don't know.
who knows?
Drama.
It would be fun if Barney wrote a book about John Boehner, wouldn't it?
Oh, that would be good. Okay, now you get
Very
into
revealing.
I think that would be wonderful.
something. That would be fun. I'd like that.
All right, now, you had a subject you were going to bring up,
That's right.
All right. We are
which
missing.
has to do with why we won't be here next week, I
Yes,
presume.
exactly. Yes. I wanted to get your thoughts on President's Day. Okay, I'm starting an anti-Columbus Day movement, which then brought me to President's Day, and I said, why do we have President's Day? And I
Whoa.
discovered that it's commonly known as all the President's Day, you know, all the different presidents, but actually it's really just George Washington's birthday that
It
they
ain't
named
Lincoln.
president.
Well, no, it's not. It's we used to have separate holidays
Separate holidays.
for Lincoln and Washington.
When was Lincoln's Day? Because
The 12th.
The 12th.
that was his birthday or
It's his
day?
birthday, February
Okay.
12th. And then, for some reason, they decided that they didn't want 2 February holidays,
Okay.
since Valentine's Day is not a holiday. And so they sort of combined them, and they went, at the same time, they went to the Monday nonsense, so it no longer has any significance whatsoever. And then over time, so they didn't want to call it Washington Lincoln, so
Okay.
they started calling it President's Day. And over time, it slid to the point where it became a holiday that said that Millard Fillmore and James Polk and George W. Bush were just the same as Washington, Lincoln, and Jefferson, which is totally ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
And the first time I got really, really mad is when I saw a car sale broadsheet in the paper that had pictures of every single president on it. The other thing that drives me crazy now
remember that ad,
is
yeah.
that people who advertise Washington's birthday sales that end on February 17th.
Wasn't his birthday
If you're
the
going to have a
22nd or
Washington
something?
birthday sale, at least run it till Washington's birthday. No,
Is this
so-
why you hate President's Day?
it's a ridiculous holiday. And it also has another spin-off.
kids like it,
It
though.
leaves the only
Only because they get a day off of school.
it leaves the only national holiday on our entire calendar that's named after a person as Martin Luther King Day.
Oh, yeah.
Say that again?
The only holiday on our only national holiday on our calendar
Okay.
named for a person
What about Columbus Day?
that's not a national holiday.
It's a federal holiday.
It's not a federal holiday.
No, it is.
No?
No. It's a jurisdictional by jurisdictional holiday.
My goodness.
If you're gonna
My research differs, but that means I'm going to go back to
You have
drawing
to-
board.
Okay.
You'll tell us what you know
Yeah,
about it.
I'm going to do some research now.
Okay.
All right.
But Columbus Day is not, to the
Columbus
best
Day
of
is
my
awful.
knowledge, a national holiday.
Okay.
I
And,
kind of
and
like
she's
him,
not
though,
going to
even
have
though
many
he-
Italian friends left.
But he'd be a bad one to celebrate Columbus on this month because this is Black History Month.
He was a horrible person.
Well,
I
he
don't know
had
how
slaves.
Exactly. How does he have a day named after him that we actually still celebrate?
Well,
It
you
makes
don't live
no
in the
sense.
North End. That's the reason why.
Well, then can't you call it? We can just
North
rename it.
End
Let's
Day.
let's rename it.
Okay.
Okay,
What,
we-
Western Hemisphere European
Sure.
Discovery Day?
Exactly. Anything but Columbus Day.
I always love the way that we're so quick to say that somebody discovered something that had been actively occupied and vibrantly worked for thousands and thousands of years, Columbus discovered America. Excuse me, my ancestors were already here.
Yeah.
Had been here for a very long time. And besides, America is a funny thing because not only did Columbus never sight any part of the United States of America, he didn't even know it was there.
No, he didn't even get this close.
Well, he got to the islands, Cuba.
Well, he did. No, he got to
Yeah.
Central America.
Enough to destroy the entire cultures.
yeah.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
and totally eliminate the Carib Indians and
Yep.
and a
He
few
didn't
other
get to
things.
China though.
No, he
That's
thought
where
he
he
got.
was wanted to go to Cathay.
India. I thought he wanted to go to India.
He thought he'd gone to India,
but
to
he
the
wanted
Spice
China
Coast.
Was involved.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Anyways, the
in any
Pentagon.
case, I don't like President's Day because
All right.
All right.
we no longer
We-
celebrate the two most significant presidents in American history.
Right. But the Pentagon is busy dealing with its own problems.
Isn't that its
the-
purpose?
Besides the, I showed him a clipping on the National Guard and the business with these bonuses that they were.
They're paying from $2,000 to $7,500 for people to get people to sign up. And apparently what they're doing is recruiters are passing the names on to the contractors of people who've already expressed their interest in signing up. Then the contractors claim to have referred them and split the bonus with
Yeah,
the
they even got
recruiters.
school principals and guidance counselors in high schools.
It reminds me of the
they
Civil
want a
War where
piece
you
of
could
this.
buy your way
Yeah,
out.
okay.
It's awful.
But that's only one part of this
This
whole
is the
thing.
problem with a volunteer army.
Yeah, that's the answer. That's the
Yeah.
reason. Yeah, but it's cost us a lot of money.
Of course, the most serious problem with an all-volunteer army is that 90% of the population gives no thought to the cost of war at all.
Right. The 1% that doesn't go, they know about the cost of war.
Right. But the
it-
thing is, we've been at war for 12
but wait
years
a minute.
now.
But it
Yeah.
keeps them in business. They get all the contracts. Those guys at the top of.
Yeah,
this.
well, at this point, we've
All right.
apparently
Wait a minute.
decided being ripped off by defense contractors is the cost of doing business.
But we got other
I think
troubles.
Dick Cheney's still pulling the
There
strings.
are other problems with the Pentagon. One of them is
Okay.
all of these missile bases. I don't know if you read about it. You must have read about it. It's been in the papers.
You mean the
now
old
for-
silo farms and stuff
Yeah, these.
out in the middle of North
They,
Dakota?
they get these exams periodically, evaluation exams by their commanding officers, and they must, according to them, they must get 100% on the exam. The firing procedures and everything else. If they don't get 100%, their argument is they don't get promoted.
Okay.
All right. So they cheat.
Of course they do.
All right.
Who gets
Okay.
100%?
Michael, remember in our day that in order to pass a course in an engineering school, you had to have 100%?
Right.
There was no B.
Really?
It was A and fail. And they used to say in those days, before education got soft, they used to say, nobody's going to drive across an 80% bridge.
Fair
Right?
enough.
And I say
Okay.
the same thing about people in control of international ballistic missiles.
Okay. Then comes.
Except one other thing. These missiles no longer actually exist.
Well, they
We've gotten
do.
rid of all of them. We just pretend they exist.
Yeah, but the equipment is there.
Oh my goodness.
The equipment is there, and
the
the
silos
nuclear
are
equipment.
the silos are empty.
Well, not all of them. Some of them.
Well, the
are.
CIA may come grab me out of the studio for saying
They
so.
will.
Well, what else is on that paper
Wait a
there?
minute, they got enough.
You want to change the
I
subject?
want to change the subject.
Okay.
Okay, we've still got a couple of
Yeah.
minutes.
You gotta have something else,
All
or
right.
something
Now,
lighthearted.
wait a
Is there
second.
something about puppies on
Wait
there?
a second. To prove your research, last week we complained that you only got us the salary of admirals, and we wanted to know what the salary of generals were.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've done a little research.
All right, let's
not
get-
not
let's
as
get it. Let's
in
get
depth
it.
as I should.
Okay.
So in 2010,
Yeah.
there's a lot of qualifiers. Okay.
Okay, all right.
So it's but I just want to say, with experience, a general
I love this with experience.
with experience,
With
with
experience.
extra experience,
Okay.
a general can make $18,675.30 a month.
Oh, that's
And
pretty
that
good.
is in
$230,000 a year.
Yep. But that was in 2010, so it's now 2014. You can imagine.
It's maybe even as
They
much
got
as
a- they got a
$250,000
COLA,
a year.
didn't they?
Yeah.
There's
Which-
a lot of little qualifiers.
okay.
So, but
Which means
I mean,
the
that's
fate
again
of
a lot of money.
the fate of the world is in their hands.
And
a
also
rela-
women.
and
What
a-
about all these women officers who are in court for being assaulted?
This is what we fondly call a non sequitur.
You don't want it. You don't want to hear about it.
Michael likes to think of them as segues. They're actually non sequiturs.
But it's serious stuff.
I'm just saying the fate of the world is in
Generals were
these
paying
people's hands, and they make less than a mid-level relief pitcher.
Good. I'm glad of it because there's about 10 of them that are retiring because of all these terrible situations with cases that have come up on sexual malfeasance and stuff of that sort.
Well, a lot of Republicans told them, don't let women in the Army,
Anytime there are men
All right,
in
what else you
positions,
got?
well, anytime there's men in positions of power, there is
It will be abused.
Yes, no offense, all the men of the
No,
world,
it's
but
good.
it's the truth.
It's good. The truth will out.
Well, I
it's
thank you
sad,
for
it's
your
heartbreaking.
research,
Okay.
although I'm amused by research that comes with an ad for pan pizza on it.
All right.
Hey, the internet nowadays,
There's an ad on everything. right?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
Michael
it's
is now
playtime.
indicating by picking up his script that it is now time for the BATV Big TV Unrehearsed Players Association.
Big TV.
This totally throws me. Big TV.
Big TV. Just got to keep
The
saying it over and over again.
Unrehearsed
Big TV.
Thespian Society's presentation for this week. You know the old saying, my tongue got in the way of my eye teeth and I couldn't see what I was saying?
I think I've heard you say that before.
And you still got your teeth.
Anyway, this one came off the bottom of the pile
Bottom.
in the archives. We reached all the way to the bottom, which is interesting because the
There's no-
paper's not even brown, but
yours is
it
new.
could be.
Mine is old.
And
yeah.
it is entitled WMD. It says
Okay.
that right there, low and resonant. WMD.
Maybe you should tell the audience what WMD means,
Very
because
good.
I'm sure nowadays it could mean any number of things.
Well,
So way back
Weapons
then,
of mass destruction.
there we go.
Okay.
Well-
Weapons
right.
of mass destruction
So now
or an
everyone's-
excuse to start a war.
Right.
Okay. So,
Action.
all right.
So, did they finally nail Saddam or not?
Who knows?
What about the DNA?
Well, they've been blowing him up quite a bit.
We've certainly tried.
What about the weapons of mass destruction?
He's got him. He's got him.
He's one of them,
Oh, well, anyway, they haven't found him
or him either.
yet.
We will. We will.
You guys are pretty sure?
Well, Bush and Powell said he's got him.
The CIA and the DIA says he got him.
But they're still looking.
It's a big country.
Yeah, they're somewhere in this country.
Or maybe Syria.
Or maybe Iran.
Yeah. He's got him. He's got him.
Why are you so sure?
He gassed thousands of his own people.
But a nuclear device?
Don't put it past him.
UN inspectors hunted for them.
Didn't look in the right places.
You guys are pretty confident.
Deep down, everyone knows.
Well, I don't.
Well, how deep down do you go?
Come on, Joe.
There's a lot of sand in Iraq.
And if you dig down far enough, you'll hit oil.
Saddam was an evil dictator, right?
Agreed.
He murdered all his opponents and his critics.
I guess.
While people starved, he built palaces for himself and his kids.
What's your point?
We did everybody a favor.
What about the big stuff? The weapons of mass destruction?
What about it?
We simply haven't found it yet.
Have some patience.
Yeah, show a little faith.
I want evidence.
What about all the unmarked graves?
Probably innocent people.
We're getting the job done.
It's not enough for the world.
The world didn't free the Iraqis.
But our Secretary of State made our case before the UN.
Yeah.
You must be some sort of Democrat.
Well, she sounds like a liberal.
Actually, I voted for President Bush.
Never convinced me that way.
I just want our GIs to find anthrax containers.
And what if our troops become infected?
Of course I don't want that.
Well, if it's a dirty bomb that was detonated there,
Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Now see here.
God forbid it.
And then what kind of proof do you want?
Weapons to prove him guilty of the charges.
So you really don't think he's guilty enough?
It's not just me, guys.
Well, you're saying most Americans want to find the stuff, though.
And suppose we don't.
That would hurt Bush's re-election chances.
I can't believe this girl.
What can you expect?
The media is waiting for us to find them.
And how about our troops being killed and wounded daily?
Yeah, doesn't that count for anything with reporters?
There's still resistance. His Ba'athist loyalists.
And maybe Al-Qaeda recruits, but they're shooting.
It's preventing us from finding the WMDs.
That's pretty far out.
We didn't know about Hitler's V1s and V2s at the time.
Until they landed in London. Ooh.
Our spies missed them.
And the rockets, the jet planes, the death camps, who knew?
That was then.
Doubting Thomas.
Romney says deficit legislator says we're fine.
Wait a second. I thought we were talking about Iraq.
Romney vetoes and legislature says foul ball.
Well, what about the WMD?
The media asks both sides for proof.
And Saddam says it's a phony charge.
Here, it's cut the budget, but it's not my fault.
Oh, okay. What are you getting at?
It's called responsibility.
Look, don't worry. He'll tell the truth when we catch him.
What if he's killed?
Someone will spill the beans.
And the truth about the budget deficit?
The media will find out.
It's easy for you to say.
There's always a deep throat in some parking garage.
Or a loquacious Campbell.
Why are you so negative, Kiera?
I'm suspicious by nature.
So you think it's all a smokescreen?
You mean like propaganda?
Managing the news, spin doctors.
Give us a break. We're not that stupid.
I love my country and the flag.
We know.
You can't look under every rock, sweet.
I know, but I want simple answers.
Fair enough.
And I want our guys out of harm's way.
Don't you realize that that's the price of war?
But can we keep doing it for everybody else?
Well, the president is going to Africa, I think.
Look, you have to understand it's never going to be a perfect world.
But guys, we need everyone's help.
Blackout.
Well, there
Woohoo!
There we go. This was written so long ago that we didn't know how to spell Al-Qaeda. Wasn't that
noticed
a
that.
nice time?
Al-Qaeda, A-L, thank you.
No, it's just how things change over time.
You know that Puerto Rico is going broke? I mean, Puerto Rico is going broke.
Puerto Rico?
Puerto Rico.
Isn't Puerto Rico part of the United States?
See,
Isn't it Providence?
So
Isn't that
how
what they
does
call
it go broke?
they can't pay the bills.
Um,
They have debts and billions of dollars in debts.
No,
What are
it's
they
not
gonna
a
do about it?
province.
They're in shape like Detroit.
What is its proper? It's not a province. It's a.
It's a commonwealth.
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 Okay.
That's what- The schools are falling to pieces, and all these public buildings, and everybody who has any kind of profession or knowledge or skills is leaving for mainland America.
Really? What's causing that?
because they have all this unemployment and they have all these debts, and they simply can't get anything going there.
Really? What's causing that?
High taxes also, I might add. They keep raising the taxes.
Cost of living's going up.
And the businessmen leave. The businessmen and women. Yeah.
I remember years ago, my father had a business friend from Puerto Rico. He came up to visit us, and he had a cutest little 4-year-old son. And I said hello to his son, and I said, "And what is your name?" And he went, "My name is Carlos Benitez Inc."
Nice.
His father's business was Carlos Benitez Inc. And so this little
hysterical.
4-year-old boy thought,
Aw.
"My name is Carlos Benitez Inc."
Are you watching the Olympics?
I don't. I wish I could. I'm actually in school right now, so that
Okay.
extra time is spent studying.
Well, this guy watches a little. I do, a little.
It's very frustrating. I have determined that I'm not going to watch any Olympic sport that has judges. Because
TV is
they
off.
are the athletes are wonderful, the judges are merde. Merde.
Merde.
Yeah, merde. It's a French word. You know
What does it mean?
I'm not saying it in plain language.
All right, you'll have to tell me after.
Let's say their judging is execrable.
Okay.
Execrable.
Got it.
You got it.
I
Okay.
got it.
Anyways,
No,
Are
it's
you watching
really
the
bad.
Olympics?
sometimes I watch the opening. They had fireworks.
But the fireworks were
And
outside.
then wait a minute, then they had ballet also.
Okay.
Okay.
Very dramatic. That's the best
was-
part of the.
I was watching luge today, which was sort of fun.
Luge.
But it looked like the whole luge track was indoors.
It probably was.
And
I wouldn't be surprised.
their stadium is enclosed. It's like, well, there again, as somebody pointed out, they've basically made a Winter Olympics venue out of essentially Malibu.
Yes.
The thing is, this
Cost
place
them
is
a
a
fortune,
summer
though.
resort on the beach. So I guess they had to put everything in. I was watching some ski jumping today, and they have no snow
It's all
Right.
man-made.
on the thing. They have refrigerated, they have 2 ski width tracks that are refrigerated and ice. And the rest of the slope is carpet.
Carpet. I saw.
That is crazy.
Now,
Is
here's-
this the same sport?
Okay, here's a commercial that I saw that you both might have probably seen. Joe Kennedy's TV commercial.
Oh, Joe's back on
Yeah,
his oil
nobody
again.
should be left out in the cold. He says Venezuela is so good and kind. They give him cheap money, and he
No,
says
they give him cheap oil.
Yeah, and he says yeah, well, cheap money and oil too. Okay, but he says nobody should be left out, and the government gives him this cheap fuel oil. But the problem is the people who need the fuel oil. Do they get it?
Well, he's now replaced Hugo Chavez's name in the ad. That was the one difference. The ad was almost essentially identical to the old ad, except Hugo Chavez's name isn't in there anymore. But it's fine. But I don't know why is. The funny thing is, why does Joe have to advertise?
I don't know.
This is what I don't understand. Why does Citizens Energy have to advertise unless it's hard for me to believe they have to recruit people who need heating oil subsidies. You know?
I'm sure there's a lot more interesting
Well-
commercials on than that one.
But we're gonna have to cut it though, unfortunately.
It's over already? Why does this half hour always go by so fast?
Because we're so interesting. Good night, Irene. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. We'll see you in our dreams. Good night, Irene. Good night, everybody, from the Fun Show here on Big TV.
Big.
We
Big,
will not
very
see
big.
you
Big.
next week due to that
Big.
strange thing called President's Day.
Ugh.
But we'll be back the week after that, so tune in.
And remember, it's Black History Month.
Yes.
Okay.
So look up some Black history this month.
Okay. There's some good shows on PBS.
Fade to black.
Black history.
Yeah, see?